Jai Shri Krishna and welcome to this 18 weeks program of healthy, happy, peaceful life in 7 steps with teachings of Bhagavad Gita and meditation. And this program is mainly based on the book My Question and God's Answers and 108 mantras to awaken your soul. This 18 weeks program, we started from Guru Purnima Day. And how beautifully these 4 months are. The Guru Purnima. And then Shri Krishna Janmashtami, followed by Ganesh Chaturthi. And now it is followed by Shraddh. And then it's going to be Nav Durga and Dashera and Diwali. So how these auspicious, divine 4 months, and we are all blessed to join for this program together. This message came to me for this 4 months program from Supreme Power. And with everybody's support, joining, interest, we are having a wonderful program. And today is in the middle, just the 9th day. So I hope in 9 days, the purpose of this program, healthy, happy, and peaceful life, you all might have gotten some glimpse of it and felt somewhere that happiness, healthy, and peaceful in your life, or at least certain things happen, at least some of these teachings, Bhagavad Gita's teachings, help and come in your life. I am Satyakalra, your host and founder of pathtoanandam. And in pathtoanandam, as it sounds, path to Anandam. The way to reach the ultimate freedom from miseries and experience true Anandam, Satchit Anandam in our way. And that's where I'm also known as on LinkedIn and other places, happiness coach, self-transformation coach, because all these things happen from miseries to happiness through self-transformation and self-purification. And not only Path to Anandam, we teach how to be happy, but we have a lot of activities like right now, we have several activities going on, feeding the homeless people, feeding the different schools, etc. And with blessing of God, one of my friends called me from Delhi. She was going to Gomukh, Char Dham. And she said, Satya, I'm going there. Now let's do something. So we are just feeding over there also, all the rishis and saints and all that. So we have several programs, but our program is mainly based on helping people directly, not indirectly. And it just goes to the help like destitute women's education for children, etc. And we have been doing this for last 10 years, or more than actually 10 years. And as you know, with Guruji's blessing, Hariharji Maharajji's blessing, all this has started. The teaching of Bhagavad Gita, writing books, giving these presentations, this is all his blessing. So Guruji Pranam to you and continue to bless us with the whole group, the entire universe, to guide us and spread the message of Bhagavad Gita, as Lord Krishna says. The person who does this or who listens, eventually they become my bhakta, so close to me that there is no differentiation between Shri Krishna and us. the prerequisition is to follow the Bhagavad Gita's teachings, which is do good, see good, hear good, do everything, practice goodness. And today's program is a very special program. As you all know, it's a class are much more than just rituals. And it is a time to get the blessing from our ancestors. So today's program, we will cover what is Shraddh, Pitru Praksh, spiritual meaning of Shraddh, why to perform Shraddh, when to perform, where to perform, and how to perform, and what do we get in return, and what do we learn from it, or what should we learn from it and practice it. And of course, everybody's favorite meditation. So Shraddhas have been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita by Arjuna. He started like this. And he says that if there is guidance are not followed, our dharma is not followed, then what happens? If our children do not follow our Indian tradition, Hindu tradition, Sanatan Dharma tradition, then he specifically mentioned that the spirit of our ancestors are degraded by not performing the ceremonial offering of food, which is called rice balls and all that, and water to them, etc., during this period of time. And then Lord Krishna also mentions that I have given this wisdom to Ishaku, son of Surya Bhagwanji's son. And Ishaku gave this information, this wisdom, transformed or translated or transferred to his son Manu. And then over a period of time, this wisdom was lost. And we see the results today. Then when we do not give the value system to our children or do not pass on our traditions, then how would they follow it? I'm asking a question. You don't have to answer it, but think about it. How many of you have shared this 2 weeks period, sanskaras, shraddhas, to your children? Are they aware of it, that these are the 2 weeks of expressing our gratitude to our ancestors? Ask that question. Still, there is a time. Share this information with them. So I put the facts of Shraddhas together just because of the simple questions being asked. What are Shraddhas? And according to our Hindu's tradition, this is to pay homage, respect, tribute to our ancestors, forefathers. And usually when ritual is done, then Panditji asks for the 3 generations, our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. So Shraddh is when this is the action which is performed with respect, sincerity, love, and compassion, but most important with faith. Why faith? Many people ask, does the food we feed during Shraddh, during puja, to Brahmins, etc., does it go to ancestors? Think about it, how we will answer that. But the purpose of doing Shraddh is to pay our debts to our ancestors, appreciation, what they have done for us, gratitude, thank you, saying thank you to them, and of course, forgiveness. And this is called Pitru Paksh, which is the 15 days. Some people will say 16 days of ancestors, but basically it's the 15 days of ancestors. And it starts from the full moon to Mahalya Amavasya. It is called Mahalya Amavasya, the day of the Amavasya. And where do people usually perform these activities? I grew up seeing it at homes, my favorite time of the year, because we were invited to many places to eat kheer, puris, and sabjis, etc. But there are holy places where people perform this, like going to Kurukshetra, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Gokarneshwar, Nasik, Gaya, many different places. And this is also called Pinddan or Tarpan, where food and water is offered. And usually people make the dishes which are favorite to their ancestors. Like if their parents likes particular type of dish, particular kind of food, then they definitely include that in that one. And offering the gifts along with food, like they put the clothes, they put the money, feeding birds, etc. And actually, this is not just in our culture, our Hindu culture, but it is all over the world. Think about it. We are living in the Western world, many of us. And here, people celebrate or acknowledge the death anniversaries. They go and they offer the flowers to the cemeteries on their place. And also, we also have seen our parents of celebrating or acknowledging anniversary, Barsi, they call it Barsi. So basically, in the bottom line, it is a pay respect and offer moksha to departing souls. So we pray for their, not just for, we respect them, thank to them, but we pray for their liberation. Why? In Bhagavad Gita it says, and we will discuss that further, but basically, Vasansi Jirani Yatha Vihai. In other words, our body changes. It goes from one life to another life. Dehino asmin yatha dehe komaram yovram zara tatha dhyantar prapti dhiras tatra namuhti. The other point here is the Shraddh. This is not the time to feel sad and miss our loved ones. This is a time to pray for them for their mukti. And when somebody dies, the question comes, where do they go from here? And that's a beautiful question. Think about it. You might already have an answer because we are all study Bhagavad Gita, but we will address in next slide. But what we should be grateful for our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents. Think about it. If our grandparents or our parents or great-grandparents or their grandparents or their great-grandparents, think about the whole lineage. Go back as far as you can go. And think about if any one of them was missing, would we be existing today? Suppose my parents were not there. who would give me birth? Suppose their parents were not there, how would they be born? So we have to be thankful for them bearing us, especially our mothers, bearing us for 9 months, and our father with his financial support and work the family was running in those days. Now it has changed, but in our time, my mother was a housewife and our household was being run by our father's money. And then material possessions they had given us. They had raised us, sent us to good schools, so we should be grateful for them. And on top of that, they given us their value system, genes, their heredity, all those color of my eyes and my height and whatever we have, whether we got it from our grandparents or our parents. But who is our ultimate parents? Lord Krishna says, I am your ultimate parents. Because Bija Mam Sarva Bhutanam, मैं ही सबका बीज हूं, मैं ही सबको बीज देता हूं. I am the eternal seed of the entire universe, all beings. So we should be very thankful, grateful, and be blessed with them. By being thankful and respecting them, we do get the blessings from them. And whatever our life is here, you know, want to bring another point here. Sometimes you hear the Pitra Dosh. Where does that come from? When our ancestors are unhappy, or when we were growing up, we had not treated them well. We all made the mistakes. However, we still have time. During this time, we can ask for forgiveness. We can thank them and move on with our life. And there are special Pitradoshas, pujas are done during this time as well. So as Lord Krishna says, I am the eternal seed. From his eternal seed, he has created the whole universe, this is called energy, Prakriti. And he says in Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti is a very small portion of my entire charisma, entire power, which is we feel that current, that Atma, which he refers to Atma. We are made with body and Atma. Jeev Atma. Jeev is the body, Atma is the spirit. So we are the combination of these two. However, we all know that. Here you can see it, how it shows body here. Bachpan, Javani, young age, old age, and then ultimately body disappears. However, you can see this beautiful line here. This is the Atma. It goes from here and it goes beyond, which we all have studied, experienced it. I would not say just study, we have experienced it, that we are Atma. And we have to experience more and more. So it says, Lord Krishna says here, Nenam chidanti shastrani, nenam dahiti pavaka, na chainam kalyantam po, na shochati marika. Atma is fireproof, waterproof, windproof. Nothing affects it. It's a permanent. That's why it is called eternal. However, the body, here you see, this is the explanation of this verse. Dahino asmin yatha dehe komaram yovnam zara. Dahino asmin yatha dehe komaram. From komaram means young age, from childhood to young age, and then we go there. Dahino asmin yatha dehe komaram yovnam zara. Tatha dehantar prapti, right here. He says, don't grieve for that, because Atma is permanent, and keep it that way. Now, the question comes, Atma is permanent, body disappears, but there is a gap between this body to the next body. Where does Atma live in during this time? What happens to Atma? Very interesting question. And that's where in our Shastras, in our scripture, we say there are different lokas. Atma goes from one loka to another loka. They call it Swarg loka, they call it Nark loka. There are many, many lokas. If you go to Garud Puran, you will hear a lot of lokas there, which is very scary to even read about it. But the bottom line here is Atma very seldom, spirit very seldom gets a new body immediately. Sometime it happens, but very seldom. But based on their karmas, the new body needs to be designed. And Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that whatever the karmas we do, we get those kind of parents. In other words, we have we have an option to select our parents based on our karmas. In other words, whatever karmas we do, we get those kind of parents because this journey is going to be continued. Lord Krishna wants us to self-transform, self-purify. So whatever we are doing right now with seva, bhakti, jnana, whatever, it does not get wasted. Just like we are in the college or school, and when our parents move from one city to another city due to their transfer or jobs, it didn't mean that we lost that particular grade. We went to the another city and we were admitted into the same grade over there. Similarly, all this seva, education, bhakti, it does not get wasted. It goes with us in the next year period, next life. But only it can be done when those parents and our wavelength or our connection has been established. So some people get it right away. Some people have to wait for many years. Some people have to wait for few years, depending on what are the karmas. And it says that when there are do a very regular karmas or bad karmas, those people actually suffer a lot, but still they go to the parents, which are also not very highlighted. But they get next life sooner than the people who are very highly spiritual, because finding those kind of parents are not easy. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that 1 in millions and billions you will find those highly spiritual people. So the people who are very highly spiritual, they have to sometimes wait longer. But again, it's a different, I just read this one or whatever I have learned from it. This is not my own personal experience. My personal experience is only limited to which year I was born, or when I had the previous lives, and these previous lives are affecting my this lives. And when I was like in one of my lifetime, I was in 12,000 years in somewhere in East. So I have my own experiences, but I cannot just say that other people's experiences. So I'm just sharing this information based on what I have learned from scriptures. And again, as Lord Krishna says, death is not the final destination. The journey of the soul continues even after death. So the soul moves from one body to the next body, rebirth, until it unites with self or with God. Lord Krishna says, whatever you are, wherever you are not stuck continue, continue, continue on the good path. Sometimes people say, oh, maine itne paap kiye, I'm the sinner. How could I reach higher level? And Lord Krishna says, don't worry about it. Start now. What we call it during the Navratri. Whenever you awake, that is the time for you to be awakened. So, जहां जागृति आ जाए वही जिंदगी का जागरण है. जागरण ये नहीं है कि हम लोग सिर्फ रात को बैठ के माता की चौकी करते हैं, जो भी है. We are looking for that जागृति, that awareness. So rituals of, now we start going to the more spirituality part. Here, these are the rituals: feed birds, animals, Brahman during Patri time. And you know why it is called Pitru Prakash, or Pitru time? You know, there is a beautiful story in our scriptures. Pitru and Putra, because usually son is the one who performs these activities. Nowadays, girls and all they do, but in those days, son was, so they always called Pitru Paksh, because it was performed by Pitru, by son. And there are rituals to feed the food to cows, crows, dogs, ants, Brahmins during that time. Why cows? Because cows are known to be the real form of all the Devi Devtas, very sacred in our Hindu tradition. So they say through feeding cows, with the spirit of calmness of cows, Devi Devtas, all that it reaches to our ancestors, because all these are the Atmas, and cow carries all those Atmas in her body. Feeding to crows. Why? It is also considered to be the representative of our ancestors. Dogs, very loyal, have a very good spirit. At the same time, this is the vehicle of Yamas. All these animals are somehow one or are related to vehicles or to Devi Devtas. And ants, these are the creatures which carry, you know, if you see how ants go one after another, it is called that they carry the spirit. That's why some people put the sugar for them. So they carry this sugar to your ancestors. And of course, Brahman. Brahman, it is called, why? Deva Dvij Guru Pragya Pujanam. Deva Dvij means, consider the Brahmins are the Dev Dvij. They're supposed to be higher conscious level based on their wisdom, based on their knowledge, not just by Brahman by name, but based on their knowledge. So all these pujas are done. Here you see also, they put the rice. Rice, we all know the significance of the rice, but the black til, sesame seed, have a very big significance, because they are black in color, and black or darkness is considered to be tamasic in nature. So this is also the prayers to God that not only take our ancestors to higher conscious level, but also uplift us from our tamasic nature to the next nature, which is also the, you can see the white color there, rice, and then also to the higher level. And these are some rituals I showed, how people go to different places and they perform with pandits and all that. But there is a beautiful story in Mahabharata, which is related to Karan, that although this has been prior to, in this Hindu tradition has been for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and no one knows when it started, but there is one story related to Karan from Mahabharata, that when he after his death, he went to Swargaloka. Then there he was fed. I mean, in Swargaloka, there were many other people. So when the time came for lunch and dinner and food time, then everybody got the best of the best food. They call it Chappan Bhog. But poor Karan did not get the food. In his thali plate, there were always jewels, diamonds, gold, but no food. Finally, he went to Indra, the king of the Swarga, asked him, how come I'm not fed? I'm hungry, I'm starving, and you keep giving me all the jewels and other people are eating food and I am not. What is going on here? And Indra explains to him that all of your life, you have donated so much gold, diamonds, everything, jewelry and precious stones, but you had never donated any food. So you are getting, but you donated. This is all in your account. So he says, then what should I do now? He says, go back to Prithviloka for 15 days and do the donation of food. And that's what he did. And that's why it is called as 15 days. And then after that, he went back and he got the food and all that. So I thought I should share this beautiful story with you. So message is very clear that whatever we do, we carry on to our next life, to next life. It's all cause and effect. So Lord Krishna says, again in Bhagavad Gita, beautiful verse, when the individual soul, Jivatma means us, leave the body, we take different experiences of life, our memories, our whatever we have gathered in our mind, it has all been registered from one body to another, just as the air takes aroma from the flower. So as it never gets wasted, but it carries on. So karma is the cause of rebirth and effect. So karmas, experiences, our expressions are the only possessions we carry, our soul carries, nothing else. So we should build the treasure of our good karmas. As it says, as you sow, so you reap. So this is, I summarize it as Shas are much more than just rituals. It is the period for our self-transformation and self-purification by donations, by having the good karmas. At least during these 2 weeks, we can live in consciousness of God and purify our soul. Respect our ancestors, especially Mother Nature, because rituals are all related to the Prakriti, Mother Nature, and energy, which is more toward the meditation, samadhi, those exercises, spiritual practices. But right now, we're talking about the Prakriti, which Lord Krishna says, this is a very small part of my energy. But this Mother Nature is made with 5 elements: water, earth, fire, air, space, akash. We must be very respectful to those as well. We should not abuse rivers, mountains, Prithvi. Otherwise, fires are made to use for proper purposes, not to waste, like what's happening in California, so many fires. Why? Because fire is angry at us. Agni Devta is angry at us. Why so many tsunamis and flooded? Because the Varun Devta is angry with us because we do not respect that. Similarly, pollution in the air, misdeeds of us. This coronavirus is the result of all those. So we must respect Mother Nature by honoring, caring, sharing. And by caring and sharing, what happens when we give donations? We develop some kind of detachment to our world. We feel more content. We develop contentment, and contentment gives us the biggest purity. That is the one biggest treasure one could have in life. And then forgiving, gratitude, so important, because even Arjuna, at the end, he says, Nashto moha smrti labdha tvat prasadan mayu. With your grace, sthito asmin, now I am stable. My memory is back. And karishe vachnam tav, I will do as you advise, but with all, even he expressed the gratitude. So this is what we need to do. We have to express the gratitude in our life. This is the teachings. This is a, to me, these are the messages from Shraddh, from this 15 days period. And then, of course, praying, meditation, and do your best and let go. Sarva dharman paritaje, mamekam sharanam braj. Aham tvam sarpapebhyo, mokshashyami machuche. Don't worry. You just focus on doing the good karmas and leave the rest on me. I will take care of you. This is how we develop our purity, self-transformation, purity. Then we are united with divinity. As Lord Krishna says, body to body, but ultimately your purpose of life is to experience ultimate satyakalra by experiencing good health, happiness, and peace in your daily life, which is the nature of the Prakriti Maya, but ultimately union with Supreme Power. So lesson to learn. And our next action. The first thing Lord Krishna says, and we always hear that we come empty-handed, and we go from this word empty-handed. But I feel this is not true. We carry a lot with us. We came to this world with karmas. We will carry a lot of karmas. But at the same time, we leave behind a lot. Of course, our possessions, our good karmas, our good memories. And those are the virtues, the value system for our family. From generation to generation, people follow. Our children follow, like we are following from our parents, from our grandkids, whether we realize it at that time or not. Similarly, our children and grandchildren will follow as well. So we should continue with our good karmas. And also, it says, question comes. Again, this is question comes. Does the food go to our ancestors when we feed during this time? And very simple answer is yes, it does. Like when we make the food with positive energy, with goodwill, like a prasad, and birds, Brahmins, whoever we feed, when it goes to them, they are happy. They are generating the positive vibration as well. So all the positive vibration in the universe affects those souls which have not gotten the body yet. Or even if they have gotten the body, they are a part of this cosmic power, this positive power, positive energy. So everybody is being infected, not just them, but we ourselves also. So yes, food goes, maybe we don't see it that way, but on the spiritual, on the energy basis, as Lord Krishna says, I am an energy. So through that good karma, the energy carries. So again, this verse, it says, the worshipper of ancestors goes to ancestors. Demigods, Devi Devta person goes to Devi Devtas. Those who worship me attain me, freedom from birth and death cycle. Here is a good message again for us. Sometime when this Shas time comes, many people will see that they're very sad, and they talk about a lot about ancestors and all that, which is good. But as I explained before, being sad, we are sending the negative energy. So we should always be thinking positive, but we should respect them during this time. Does not mean that we are so attached to them that we continue just missing them on all that and crying for them, because by doing that, we are making their life, their misery, creating the miseries in their life and sending a lot of negative vibration, not just to them, but the whole environment. So we should meditate, we should pray, and then we should take a sankalp where it says the sankalp. We should take the sankalp, promise that we should pray, worship, pray and respect them and be thankful to them. And as again in Gita verse 11:55, which is a summary of entire Gita. Adi Shankaracharya says this is a summary of the complete Gita. How to realize supreme power. One who performs all of his action for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, who is fully devoted to me, always lives in my consciousness, who is free of attachment, free from enmity toward all beings and friendly to all, certainly attains me, which we have spoken in previous 8 sessions as well. So the message here is energy follows thoughts. So we should always create a positive energy, good energy, and our thoughts will be taken care of by itself. So thank you very much for joining this blissful life with ancestors' blessings. By doing that, we get the blessing. So the main message of today's session is Shraddh, Pitrupak is not just for the rituals, but it is for our own self-purification, self-transformation. So ultimately, we experience satyakalra, attain the purpose of our life.